Well, the online zeitgeist is, erupting with bitterness and contempt, all sorts of things for Apple today. That's right, Apple has enraged the internet, and they don't do that often, really, but it does feel like Apple is becoming the king of delivering products that nobody asked for. It really does feel like they've stopped listening to a lot of the users of these products and decided to sort of just go with it, whatever they want to go with. We talked a lot about the R&D of Apple and what they're researching, what they're developing, and they're coming up with a ton of research papers based on the research they're doing and sharing that into the community. But that's not why the internet is upset. They're upset about the most recent event, the subsequent marketing around the event, and even the products in the event itself. That's right, it is more than an ad, it's more than a pencil, and it's more than an iPad, so let's get into it. Hey there, I'm Dries, and I have a master's degree in educational technology and new media, but you don't need one to understand why Apple is just dropping the ball. If you don't know, Apple had a pretty small event, 30-minute event on May 7th, and the reaction to that event has been quite overwhelming. So that's what we're taking a look at today, all of the backlash. And in case you did miss it, I thought a good place to begin is to watch a bit of the 1-minute ad that has everybody talking, and it's quite the ad. So Tim Cook posted it himself on his Twitter, and he said, "Meet the new iPad Pro, the thinnest product we've ever created." Okay, so it starts with metronome, nostalgia, one of the times when I'm down and all alone. All I ever need is you. Pushing the paint, they're doing all of it. I don't want to get DMCA'd here, so look at that, boom. And then what happens? What happens at the end? Come and follow rainbows, I am told. Well, there's all of that. Look at that. All of that into a little black box. It's also the thinnest. It's also the thinnest, guys. Look at all the stuff we put into it. Look at it. It's also the thinnest. And I get it. This is a pretty straightforward ad, I guess, right? It's like this person says it pretty well. Like, I don't get the hate for the ad. It's really clever. It's saying all of those things can be compressed into just an iPad, which is now even thinner than before. So, hey, it's clever, right? Everything else is either old or props, not really an environmental issue. That's not really, I think, the point. I don't think people are saying, oh, well, it was old stuff. Who needs old stuff? I think it's creative stuff. So let's address the elephant in the room. This ad is just a bad ad. As someone who loves creating music, art, and all of that kind of stuff, it was really hard to watch. Not because my feelings were being hurt or anything, but as a visceral reaction to an ad, right? From a consumer standpoint, I was just like, oh, that sucks. From the beginning, with the metronome like counting down and it all culminating into this destruction. It really did feel like some sort of postmodern hellscape of like technology. Just think about it, right? The destruction of everything creative distilled into a black box is sort of like the enigma I think people fear the most. It's like, what are we talking about? And for me, it was just a bad ad. It didn't move me emotionally. It didn't inspire me whatsoever. But generally speaking, this is the sentiment. Apple's Crush ad is disgusting. And that is the sentiment. It's mixed, but mostly that is what it is. It's a bad ad, it's a disgusting ad, and it didn't hit. A user on X named Jared Sexton said this, and I thought it was really insightful and appropriate for sort of this moment of, again, we have a booming technology sector, right? AI is exploding. Technology is exponentially growing. And then this sort of, for lack of a better word, tone-deaf, ad didn't feel right. And he says this: Apple has unintentionally made one of the most fitting and revealing advertisements of the modern era. This horror perfectly encapsulates the feeling of life. This horror perfectly encapsulates the feeling of life as the powerful reek, escalating careless and clueless destruction. I think that's pretty apt. Yeah, they missed the ball. They didn't think about how consumers would respond, which I think is wild for Apple. That is just so unlike Apple. And as this user pointed out, if your ad looks better in reverse than it did, as you intended, that's a big issue. That's a problem. So this is, again, what the ad looks like in reverse, which I think is much better. As this person said, I think it's catering to the audience a bit more. And that's going to be unpacking the black box, which is the iPad, and then revealing its creative abilities. I think it just a little bit, it makes more sense. So here's that ad backwards. This is cool. Yeah, this just looks better. Everything's coming together. Everything is revitalized. You know what I mean? Like, there's something to that sentiment I think is much more powerful than destroying it all. I mean, again, I don't even think that's what they intended with the ad. I think it's like more of a, look what we can compress into this thin iPad Pro. Look at the advancements. Look how far we've come. And it just missed the mark. It's not what they intended. Obviously, it's Apple, guys. Like, there's just no way that they intended to make their users upset. That wasn't the goal. But that's what happened. And this is one of the last things I'll say about the actual destruction of all of the creativeness that I think most people are finding an issue with. This user pointed out, passion fruit. They say this: arcade cabinet, $1,500. Upright piano, $1,200. Trumpet, $800. Emoji stress ball, $499. Watching Apple self-own, trying to attract the very users they're pissing off. Priceless. Just a little hidden gem here I thought was pretty on the nose of what they were trying to do versus what they did. But let's talk about the much smaller, much thinner elephant in the room. It's thinner, guys. Wow. Do we have to keep making tech smaller? At what point will we actually get to the, this is the thinnest, most strongest, most reliable, most quality piece of technology? Because at some point, I think we're looking at these thinner products thinking they look cool, which is great. They do look cool. But practicality, application, and utility is very important. Think about just the logistics of having a thinner product, like replacing the parts inside of it. It likely will overheat more so because you don't get that cycling of systems. The fans are not going to be as big, so you're going to overheat more. The thing is going to break more. It's not going to be as strong as some of the thicker products on the market. So those are all things going against this. It's thinner sort of marketing scheme. I don't know how this got past production. And apparently it's not even the thinnest product they've created, because the iPad Pro 13 is 5.1 millimeters, but the iPod Shuffle 3rd gen is actually 4 millimeters, which I thought was pretty interesting and something that shouldn't be overlooked. And I know there have been arguments about how thin is the Nano, because it has this notch on it that comes out. And that's true, but so does the iPhone, as someone pointed out, I think, in the comments. Oh, this is the thinnest. No, the thinnest product's actually the cloth. No, there was a notch or something debate. Anyway, it's not even really the thinnest product. I mean, you have the cloth, right? You have the iPad Shuffle 3rd generation. To hearken on that as a marketing point of promotion, I thought was kind of funny. The backlash against it has been loud, chaotic, and the backlash isn't that mixed. It all seems to be from bad to disaster. And finally, we talked about the ad, the sizes, the sentiments, and the backlash. But let's talk about the products. I mean, they released this lineup, and as Daniel on X points out, Steve would have executed at least a dozen people for this. This is complex. This is busy. This is busy work. It's not minimal. We're losing our way, I think. This is such a departure from the original Mac ads, the original Apple ads. That stirred inspiration, right? That stirred curiosity, that made us wonder and want to learn and do and create. So yeah, I don't know how to feel about all of this. What a departure. What a change of course that Apple has taken. I can't find the tweet now, but when I was looking for a few of the media resources I wanted to use in this video, like the ad, like the Daniel tweet and all of those, and this person said something along the lines of, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself as a villain, to which they continued, for Apple, that took 40 years. It was pretty good, but I'll leave it to you guys. What do you guys think about this? I have a feeling what you guys are thinking about this. It's not gonna be good thoughts, but try to find positive in the comments, guys. And again, I am a bit of an Apple stan myself. I have quite a few Apple products, and I really do love the brand. So this was a bummer for me. This was a big bummer for me. It was a big bummer for the internet. It was a big bummer for Apple stans everywhere. Anyways, I'm gonna leave you with that. I'm V, and I am out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.